Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss Bait, starring Jamie Foxx, David Morse, Doug Hutchinson, Robert Pastorelli, Kimberly Elise, David Paymer, Mike Epps, and Jamie Kennedy, directed by Antoine Fuqua. And like these earlier movies, up to Training Day, I didn't bring this up last time. I have never seen this movie, so I'm kind of a newbie on this one, and I haven't seen Mr. Fuqua's later works, which I'll get to when I get there. But um but this is one of the ones I have not seen yet. So let's get into this movie. The movie opens in New York City, where a robbery of gold is occurring, led by Bristol, played by Doug Hutchinson, who was in Punisher Warzone, and The Green Mile, of course, and his partner Jaster, played by Robert Pastorelli, hears shooting. Here's someone shooting someone with a gun, and he ditches him after telling him from the first meeting, no guns, and he screws over Bristol and drives off without him. And the truck almost kills Bristol until he shoots the truck driver. Meanwhile, Alvin Sanders, played by Jamie Foxx, and I swear to God, I thought this guy's name was Alvin, like the chipmunk, robs a type of shrimp called prawn, along with his brother Stevie, played by Mike Epps. And I already know this is going to be a joke right off the bat, because after the Friday sequels, I can't take Mike Epps any more seriously as a dog goes after them and they split up, and the dog chooses Alvin out of all people and gets him arrested by the cops. And I'm already thinking this movie is a fucking joke at this point. As I was relating with with Bristol more than Alvin at this point in the movie, this is a 2 hour movie that feels like a big joke, as 30 minutes should have been in the editing room floor, in my opinion. Detective Edgar Clantine, played by David Morse, is another unlikable character as we move on to Jaster, already in prison and making a phone call to his wife to bail him out. Then, when the wife is dead, thanks to Bristol. And this movie is a real mess. And who's in the jail cell with Jaster? Well, take a wild guess. Alvin. As Jaster smells bad and is having some kind of heart attack in the cell, and tells Alvin to tell his wife to go to the Bronx Zoo, with a message saying there's no place like home. And we lead to some other quotes from The Wizard of Oz, as Edgar comes in and takes Jaster while threatening Alvin, and while Alvin has a mouth of his own. And Edgar interrogates Jaster as he asks for a doctor repeatedly, and Edgar thinks he's bullshitting and dies in front of him. And I'm like, Jesus, this movie is already stupid right off the bat. Bristol is like a ghost, where nobody can find him, and he disguises his voice at one point in the movie. And Alvin gets interrogated by Edgar and tells Edgar something about the Bronx Zoo, and tells him while Bristol, the real criminal, and was there, and nobody fucking noticed that, as that bothered me from the get go. And this is amateur mistakes coming from this movie, and I can't believe this movie is releasable in the year 2000. If it were me, this movie would be unreleasable. 18 months later, Edgar introduces a satellite implanted in a criminal while Alvin is in prison, and the guards put down and plant the satellite in Alvin, as it was a surgery. Implanting a satellite in a human being makes no damn sense. Like, this plot makes no damn sense whatsoever. Meanwhile, the acting is this damn thing is horrible. Absolutely freaking horrible. That hell, I can't even make sense of it. Alvin talks with the warden, and he gets him out of jail is a terrible idea. And begin with, when I hear his name Alvin, I can't help but think of the chipmunk, like I said earlier, which is unfortunate in so many different levels, as that felt like a joke to me. While he visits Stevie at home and showers and goes to his girlfriend Lisa Hill's house, or apartment, let's say. And Lisa is played by Kimberly Elise, who has a son named Gregory, who he has never met his father before. To be fair, he is a baby. While Alvin plans to do his best at changing to get a job and prove himself, but I can't get behind Lisa at this point either, because she got on my nerves after a while. But I'm not sure if it's the actress's fault or if it's the script. Maybe more the script than, because this is a bad script to begin with. Alvin gets a call from Bristol while sounding like a college girl, and says he's going to pay him $200 for an interview. And for what reason? I don't quite understand, and I don't give a shit. But I didn't mind the machine where it can make Bristol sound like anybody in the world, which can be creepy. But I didn't mind it. Alvin applies for a job at a restaurant in which he robbed 3 years ago, and that could have been in the editing room floor, as it was absolutely unnecessary. And Stevie steals a car and gets Alvin in the car, as the dialogue in this doesn't get any worse than it is at this point in the movie. Stevie takes Alvin to a place where criminal actions happen, while Alvin asks him to pull the car over, and his criminal friends call Stevie, and Alvin answers while the cops pull him over so they can go find the robber of gold and a cop during a taxi cab bumping them and park in a used car shop. And the criminal friends get arrested by the cops, and this movie is bad enough as it is. I mean, Jesus. Alvin goes to Lisa's house and explains his rough childhood, as his father worked at a horse track and stole some toys, and cops arrested him one night in this melodramatic scene. That could be in the editing room floor, as he and Lisa have sexual intercourse while the cops are listening, and that's another scene that could be in the editing room floor, as these scenes are terrible. Alvin gets a check for $5,000 from the mailman and goes to the bookstore where Lisa works at and gives her the $5,000, and she reluctantly takes it, and without realizing it, he bumps into Bristol. And how much more stupid can this movie get? I mean, honestly. The Replacement Killers was entertaining, but to go downhill from that movie to this is unacceptable. A thief coming by and stealing and giving Alvin a bag of money, and he takes it anyways as it's $6,500 from the government, while the criminals look for Stevie, having Alvin until Bristol getting to them and tries to ask Alvin a question about until the cops come in, and he recognizes Edgar. Like, something is up, like he's working with the government. And how the fuck did it take that long? That makes no sense. I'm not gonna lie. Alvin kidnaps Stevie and talks with him in the bathroom about what the government giving him money left to right, and that's a scene that needed to be in the editing room floor, because Jesus. Alvin goes to the location to meeting place and goes to the subway station to get a phone booth, as he gets a call from Bristol, and the cops get Stevie, and this is a setup from Alvin, and this movie is getting really annoying at this point. Stevie's criminals capture Alvin and put him in the car with him while the cops are listening, and sounds are coming from the radio as Alvin crashes their car, which is some bullshit the Fast and Furious series can pull off perfectly, but this can't, and that feels unacceptable, honestly. Comparing this to Fast and Furious, Jesus, this is so unacceptable. Alvin goes to Lisa's apartment while Bristol capturing them, along with Gregory and Bristol, asking Alvin to help find his gold, and makes Alvin the bait while torturing him, and the cops coming and find something like coffee on the ground, while Bristol has Alvin, Lisa, and Gregory held hostage, and they're taken to the horse track his father worked at many years ago, and set up a bomb to go off at 10 minutes, which doesn't make any sense at all. And Alvin walks with Bristol to the horse room, where Alvin will scare the horse and distract Bristol, as they have a fight with Alvin going Mike Tyson by biting his ear off and beating the crap out of him. And Bristol goes after Alvin, and Alvin puts his ass down, while I was worried about the horses, as he gets the horses to the field and he stomps on the people, and Alvin tries to get the van where he rode with Bristol, and he gets to the van and gets Gregory and Lisa out of the van with less than a minute left, and hit wires to the van and get it away from the civilians, and gets out of there just in time and jumps out of the van to save everybody's life. And Bristol almost kills Alvin, but Edgar gets there and shoots Bristol's ass, and Alvin punches Edgar and gets out scot-free. And the next day comes, and he takes care of Gregory, and Alvin tells Edgar about the location of the gold is at the Yankee Stadium. Oh my god, this is a bad time. And this climax was super dumb, and director Antoine Fuqua went from making an entertaining movie to this pile of crap, to a movie that I hope is better next week. Now it's time for my rating. I'll give this movie a 3.1 out of 10. This is a stupid movie with some very bad characters and a plot that makes no sense whatsoever. Like putting a damn satellite in a human being, as that's a terrible idea, and the acting in this is horrible. That hell, I can't even make sense of it. I never could take Mike Epps too seriously, as this movie is a fucking joke from the start when he first got on screen. And another thing I thought was a joke was whenever they say the name Alvin, aka the Jamie Foxx character, I can't help but think of the damn chipmunk, which is unfortunate in so many levels. This movie is 30 minutes too long, and some of these act scenes needed to be in the editing room floor, as this movie is a real mess, as this is a solid not recommendation. And I can't believe it went downhill from The Replacement Killers, which was entertaining, to this pile of shit. But the next one is hopefully better. I hope. I haven't seen it in a while, so let's see how this goes. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and next time I will be back with Training Day. And until then, let's go rob some shrimp.